Welcome to Student Expert Sessions. The presentation will begin shortly.
Welcome everyone to another Student Expert Session. My name is Dr. Laura Munoz, and today I have the pleasure of being with the one and only Diane DiResta, owner of DiResta Communications. Welcome, Diane.
Thank you, Laura. It's great to be here.
Awesome. It's great to be here with you as well. Diane, why don't we just start by you telling us who you are and what you do?
All right. Well, my background is I grew up in a military family, and that means I went to 8 different elementary schools, and I went to kindergarten and 3rd grade in Germany. So I'm grateful for that background because it gave me a lot of flexibility and a curiosity about diverse cultures. And I started out as a speech pathologist in the New York schools, and I got my degree from Columbia. And after that, I thought, it's time to make a career change. So I started doing stand-up training in corporations. So I worked in Solomon Brothers, Drexel Burnham, which is an investment banking firm. I went to college campuses and recruited students, I shouldn't say students, MBAs for the trading floor. And then I realized I liked the work, but I did not like the culture of Wall Street. So I left and I started freelancing. And little by little, I realized I like doing this. So I started my own business, DiResta Communications.
That is excellent. Now, tell us about your current role. Tell us about DiResta Communications and your business.
Well, I founded this many, many years ago, more than 20 years ago. And what we do is we work with people who are leaders or entrepreneurs, and I've worked with some students as well, to show up powerfully so that they're confident, clear, and influential. So it's how to have presence on the platform, whether your platform is a stage, a meeting room, or even a classroom, or a Zoom call. Everybody has to communicate. And the way we show up is I might be speaking on a stage, doing workshops or seminars, doing a lot of one-on-one coaching, and also I do some media training as well. And I have a book called Knockout Presentations, which you can see on the screen, and it's in its 3rd edition. It was a category bestseller when it first launched.
Excellent. So since you're talking about communications and the importance of present in a clear and convincing manner, why don't you tell us precisely about that, about the importance of communicating effectively, and why does it matter, regardless whether you are a newly graduated college student or a seasoned person in business?
It matters tremendously because communication is at the foundation of every other skill. How can you do any kind of job without having good communication skills? And I think it was Warren Buffett from Berkshire Hathaway who said, if you can improve your performance by 50% simply by learning public speaking and communication skills. I see this all the time in companies where people are stuck at a level because they don't know how to present themselves. They don't know how to talk about themselves. They don't know how to present the information to their bosses or to the marketplace. Really, really important. When you have good communication skills, you're going to have greater opportunities to be hired, greater opportunities to get promoted, to make more money, to increase your sales, and to have better relationships, because relationships are built on communication. So I can't say enough. A lot of times when I go into organizations, they'll call these soft skills, but they're really not. They're essential skills.
I agree with you, and I don't even refer to them as soft skills. I refer to them as power skills, because if you can present accurately and in an influential and clear way, then not only your message is well understood, but I think also your presence is much more powerful.
Absolutely, without a doubt. So everybody needs to invest in themselves, and that would be a message I have for students. Invest in the skill early and continue to work it, because you never arrive. We always need to do better, and there's always a next level of communication.
Absolutely. So talking about you never arrive at the next level, can you please tell us what are the top 3 mistakes that inexperienced people actually make when communicating, and how can we overcome them?
All right, so the first one I would say is lack of focus. And this is where the message goes out all over the place. It's that they're not clear from the outset what their outcome is. So here's something that you can do right away. Fill in the blank. At the end of my presentation, the audience will blank. The answer to that is your intended outcome. So when you start with a clear outcome or intention, then it's easier to stay on track, because if you go off message, you think, oh, but my purpose is, and it helps you to come back. It also helps you to organize and prepare, because sometimes people start with slides. No, you want to start with this fill in. Here's my outcome. Okay, based on that outcome, what are the things I need to say? So that's number one. Number two is not knowing the audience, meaning not tailoring your message. So there's some people who are really good at a presentation, but then the audience changes, but they don't change the presentation to suit the audience, and then it bombs. So you need to do a listener profile. The more you know about the listeners, the better. And when I talk about an audience, it doesn't mean a big auditorium. Your audience could be one person. It could be your boss, it could be your coworker, it could be your significant other. But to really start there, how are they wired? What do they care about? What's their style? How can I say this simply? And that leads us to number three, because another mistake I see is what I call a data dump. This means that you open your brain and you pour it out and you tell them everything you know. And you've probably seen this in your classes, Laura, but you hear it a lot too when people are of a technical nature. And the belief is that if I tell you everything I know, you're going to be enriched. No, they can't handle all that data. So what you want to do is simplify your message. I like the rule of three. Think of things in threes. 3 main points, 3 agenda items, 3 benefits. People can remember things that are grouped in 3. So keep it simple. Don't tell them everything you know. Tell them what they need to know.
Oh my gosh, that is such an excellent piece of advice. I really like the last one. Now, talking about virtual presentations, since this is one of those, right? I'm virtually interviewing you since you're in New York and I am in Dallas. So what are some of the key things that as a Zoom presentation, as it's taking place, that we need to keep in mind?
One of the biggest mistakes people make is a lack of eye connection. So right now, you're here, but if I look here, I'm not making an eye connection. So I'm talking to my camera, which is on top of my laptop. So you need to make love to the lens. Now this is hard because this is a broadcasting skill. So it's almost like you're doing a satellite interview. So how do you feel more comfortable doing this? When you're talking, look at the lens. But when the other person is talking, then look at them so you can see their nonverbals, as I'm doing now. So that's one of the things people have difficulty mastering, eye contact or an eye connection. Also, they don't often know where the camera is. So check it out in advance. Another thing is people get bored more quickly when they're on a screen. So you need to engage people instead of being a talking head. Like we're going back and forth. That's more interesting than one person talking the whole time. So figure out different ways you can engage. Maybe you can engage, put up a slide, do a poll, ask them to put something in the chat. So those are things that are important on a virtual screen.
Those are excellent points, Diane. Thank you. To me, if I can share, one of my pet peeves is when people do not also align the camera to their face, but also to their part of their body. Because I don't want to be looking at somebody's nose from below, or I don't want to be looking at you way too high. So what is your take on the camera also, on how much of your presence you want to fill the screen?
Yeah, well, you're perfect the way you have. So you want just a little bit of space above the head. So you don't want so much like this. You want just a little.
Yes, we don't want to be like this. Yes.
And this is a good shot, what we both are doing. You don't want to have the camera up too high or too low. And the way to get around that is get on the call early and look at yourself. So that's the benefit of virtual. When you're in a room, you don't know how you look. You know how you look when you come to Zoom or Teams. So look in the camera and get a sense of yourself and make sure that you're showing up, you're centered. You know, sometimes people are off-centered like this, or they tend to not use any gestures at all. So use your hands when you can, but you need to use fewer of them and they need to be closer to your chest.
Excellent. Those are all excellent points. Thank you. Now, I really want to ask you about your book. I'm a big fan of your book, which is how it led me to actually get to know you. We met on LinkedIn. We've done several things together. Please tell us about Knockout Presentations and where can we get it?
Knockout Presentations is in its 3rd edition. I wrote it like a seminar in a book so that if you couldn't work with me, that was the next best thing. So each chapter has a checklist at the end, do's and don'ts. So you could just skip to the end of a chapter and get the key points. But it gives you everything from delivery skills, how to organize a talk. I have templates in there. There's a section on questions and answers and visual aids. So there's analyzing your audience, overcoming nervousness. So it's a really good primer. Great as a text for college students. It has been used in some colleges for that purpose, but it's also been read in the C-suite. I've had CEOs read the book and they found it very valuable. It's practical tools, no fluff. It really gives you the nitty-gritty of what you need to do to be a knockout presenter. So you can get it in Barnes & Noble bookstores, or you can go online.
Also, such as Amazon, right? Because that's where I
Amazon.
remember I got it. Yes, absolutely. And it is one of my favorite books, I have to admit, when I have to present, when I have to, for example, just remember, okay, what are the things that I'm trying to accomplish in this meeting? Or even when I'm preparing classes, like what are the key things that I want to make sure my students learn? I always go back to Knockout Presentations.
Thank you so much.
Oh, no, thank you. And last but certainly not least, this video is for college students. So now that, we are on the other side of the spectrum, we've done with college, right? We have our degrees. What will be some pieces of advice that you will give to people who are about to become future professionals in their lives?
All right, well, the first thing that your audience should know, I've worked with ages 4 to 84. I have worked with college students. So if you're a college student, I would say first invest in your development. Sometimes people don't want to spend the money. Spend it. It is worth it. Public speaking and communication should be a lot of your study. So don't avoid classes that teach you how to be a speaker. I know when I took my public speaking class, it was required, and I got a B in the course. So I was not a standout. And it just goes to show you that you can learn these skills and develop. I had no idea I would be doing this, speaking on 4 continents, working with executives, training people to be good speakers. These are skills that can be learned. So here's my message to you. Gifted speakers are born, but effective speakers are made. Anybody can learn these skills. It will take you so far. So don't avoid it. Face your fear, bite the bullet, do it. Anytime you can invest in your own learning, please do that. That would be my biggest message to college students.
Excellent, Diane. Well, thank you so much for today. Thank you for giving us your time. Everyone, I cannot emphasize enough how Knockout Presentations has really helped me to improve. From the bottom of my heart, Diane, thank you so much for being on Stuken's Expert Session today.
Thank you, Laura.